Most millionaires and multimillionaires are completely invisible. Imagine this. There's a car belonging to your coworker that's always parked next to yours in the company parking lot. It's a 2009 Toyota Camry with faded paint and a small dent in the rear bumper that has been there long enough that nobody even mentions it anymore. You assume he must be struggling with a pile of monthly bills or that his credit cards are always maxed out. What you don't know is that he has $4, $7 million in index funds. His house has been fully paid off. He doesn't even touch his salary because his living expenses are already covered by the returns from his investments. And of course, he could retire tomorrow and live comfortably for the rest of his life without ever touching the principal. What nobody realizes is that he chose that Camry intentionally, which means most people misunderstand what real wealth actually looks like. They could be sitting next to you at Starbucks and you would never know they live in Atherton, the Hamptons, or Beverly Hills, even if the clothes they're wearing were bought at Walmart. People who look rich and people who are actually rich are in most cases two completely different types of people. Research from the Millionaire Next Door, which studied thousands of real millionaires across the United States, found that the majority of self-made wealthy individuals live in middle-class neighborhoods, drive ordinary cars, and are almost impossible to identify from their appearance. The external signals that most people associate with wealth, luxury cars, designer clothes, and flashy spending are actually far more common among people who earn high incomes but keep very little of it. My name is The Wealth Code, and today I'm going to walk you through 9 specific signs that someone has built real sustainable wealth, the kind of wealth that doesn't advertise itself. Understanding these signs is incredibly valuable for 2 reasons. First, you'll start to recognize real wealth in places you've never noticed before. Second, you'll realize that most of these signs are behaviors and ways of thinking that you can begin applying right now, no matter what your current income is. Before we dive into the first sign of recognizing truly wealthy people, make sure you stay with us to understand the real mechanisms behind building wealth. The first sign, that's sign 1, they stay calm. When talking about money, someone is secretly wealthy is that they are calm when talking about money. Pay attention to how truly wealthy people talk about money in conversations. When a purchase comes up, they don't say, "That's expensive," with the familiar tone that signals stress or judgment. They might simply mention the number. "That's about $150. The tone is neutral, practical, almost like talking about the weather. For most people, money carries heavy emotions. It holds anxiety, status, shame, and aspiration. Discussions about money trigger defensiveness or performance. People either downplay their financial position to appear relatable or exaggerate it to appear successful. Emotion is always present. For someone who has built real wealth, money largely becomes information. How much does this cost relative to the value it provides? Does this allocation serve the priorities I've already set? The emotional weight disappears when your financial resources are large enough. The Millionaire Next Door, published in 1996 and supported by later research updates, consistently identified this trait among prodigious accumulators of wealth. The term the researchers used for people who build net worth far beyond what their income level would predict. They talk about money the way an engineer talks about technical specifications. Useful data, not a source of pride or shame. There is a practical rule that appears when observing this pattern. Call it the rules of 3 things they don't do. They don't disclose their income, they don't mention the price of the things they own, and they don't live in ways that require hiding or displaying. Wealth simply exists quietly without needing an audience. All right, sign 2. They drive. Old, paid-off cars. The next sign that someone is secretly wealthy is that they drive an older car that's already paid off. Research from the Rich Habits Study, which tracked the daily behaviors of wealthy and non-wealthy Americans over 5 years, found that 92% of self-made millionaires do not own luxury cars. 97% have never leased a car. 55% buy used vehicles. The car that signals financial struggle to an outside observer is often the same car driven by someone with 7 or 8-figure net worth. A new $50,000 car loses about 20% of its value the moment it leaves the dealership lot. By the end of the first year, depreciation typically reaches 25 to 30%. The $50,000 car is worth only $35,000 12 months after purchase. The owner has paid $600 per month and absorbed $15,000 in depreciation and now owns something worth significantly less than what they paid. The secretly wealthy person who buys the 5-year-old version of the same car pays around $22,000 to $25,000. The steepest part of the depreciation curve has already happened. The car will still reliably transport them from place to place for another 7 to 10 years with basic maintenance. The monthly payment, if there is one, is a fraction of the cost of a new car, or there is no payment at all because it was bought with cash. The difference between these two approaches, if maintained consistently over a working lifetime, is not a small amount of money. $600 per month in car payments, if instead invested into an index fund, earning an average return of 8% per year for 30 years, would grow to about $900,000. The person driving the paid-off Toyota is not unaware that BMW exists. They have done the math. They understand that the BMW is the choice to look rich instead of becoming rich. And they have decided that the trade-off isn't worth it. According to most financial studies on car-buying cars that are 3 to 5 years old, around 30,000 miles from manufacturers known for reliability, someone else already absorbed the initial depreciation. The remaining lifespan is still substantial. The sign 3. They spend on boring but effective things. Next sign that someone is secretly wealthy is that they spend money on boring but effective things. This is a reliable signal for distinguishing real wealth from performative wealth. Ask where someone directs their discretionary spending. Someone who is performing wealth spends money on things that can be seen: a new car, a brand name watch, restaurants with modern decor, and vacations that look good on Instagram. Someone with real wealth spends money on things that work efficiently. A good accountant who saves more in taxes than they cost. Comprehensive insurance that protects assets built over decades. High-quality tools in whatever field matters to them that function reliably and last a long time. A financial advisor fee only who optimizes the structure of an investment portfolio. Estate planning documents that ensure assets go exactly where they are intended. Like none of these things create compelling Instagram content. All of them accumulate value over time. The thinking behind this pattern is quite simple. Visible spending produces temporary satisfaction and social signaling. Both fade. Functional spending produces continuous results. A well-structured tax strategy saves money every year as long as it is maintained. Quality insurance prevents a single event from wiping out years of accumulated wealth. The boring infrastructure of a well-managed financial life generates returns that flashy spending never can. All right. Sign 4. Cheap on small purchases, decisive on big ones. The fourth sign that someone is secretly wealthy is that they are careful with small expenses but decisive with large necessary ones. This pattern looks contradictory until you understand the logic behind it. You might see someone with a 7-figure net worth spend 45 minutes comparing two $80 pairs of jeans at Levi's and Uniqlo to find which one offers better long-term value. The same person, when the roof needs to be replaced, will write an $18,000 check without any visible distress and continue their work week. For small purchases, the habit of research exists to develop and maintain an accurate internal price model. Understanding what things actually cost relative to what they deliver prevents the slow accumulation of small expenses that appear reasonable individually but become significant when added together. The 45 minutes of research for an $80 item is not about the $80. It is about maintaining the discipline of never paying for something that is less than the best value available at a given price point. For large necessary expenses, the calculation is different. When something truly needs to be done, structural repairs, an important medical procedure, a legal issue with meaningful consequences, the cost of delay often exceeds the cost of the expense itself. Wealthy people understand this math intuitively. Delaying a $15,000 roof repair to avoid spending often leads to $40,000 in water damage within 18 months. The attempt to save money by waiting ends up costing 3 times as much. Wants can be researched, delayed, and sometimes eliminated. Needs, once identified as real, are handled immediately and without drama. What you rarely see among truly wealthy people is the most common pattern among most people: impulsive spending on wants and avoidance of legitimate needs because the number makes them uncomfortable. The sign 5. They master delayed gratification. Next sign that someone is secretly wealthy is the ability to delay gratification. Today, everything can be purchased with one click from desire to purchase in a matter of minutes. Apps store payment information. Stores place items exactly where impulse will find them. The entire retail environment is designed to shorten the time between wanting something and owning it, because the longer you wait, the less likely you are to buy. Truly wealthy people have broken this chain, and not through extraordinary self-control, but through a rule applied consistently until it becomes automatic. For small purchases, anything under a few hundred, a 24-hour pause. The item goes onto a list. The decision is made the next day. Research consistently shows that the majority of impulsive buying desires disappear within 24 hours if they are not acted on immediately. The item that feels essential at 900 Ps on Tuesday often looks unnecessary on Wednesday morning when the emotional state that created it has passed. For medium decisions, a few hundred to a few thousand, like 7 days. Yeah, long enough for the initial excitement to normalize and for a more accurate evaluation of real value to appear. For large decisions, anything significant enough to meaningfully affect the financial picture. 30 days, not 30 days of agonizing. Yeah, 30 days for the decision to settle. While daily life provides information about whether the desire is real or simply situational, someone with an 8-figure net worth waiting 30 days before making a large purchase is not suffering. They are applying a filter that has served them well enough to create an 8-figure net worth. The filter works precisely because most desires, if given enough time, reveal themselves as either genuine priorities or temporary impulses. Real priorities survive the waiting period. Impulses disappear and take the unnecessary expense with them. Compound interest, the mechanism behind most serious wealth, also rewards the same kind of patience at scale. $1 invested at age 35 and left alone will be worth 4 times as much at age 65 as $1 invested at age 55. Wealth is not built by the people who move the fastest. It is built by the people who are willing to wait the most. Sign 6. They control lifestyle inflation consistently. The sixth sign that someone is secretly wealthy is that they tightly control lifestyle inflation. Think of income as water pressure in a pipe. Lifestyle costs are the pipe itself. For most people, whenever the pressure increases, a raise, a bonus, a promotion, someone quietly widens the pipe to match it. A new apartment, an upgraded car, restaurants become routine because the income now makes them comfortable. Within 6 to 12 months, the higher income flows through the expanded lifestyle and arrives at the end of the month with nearly the same amount of money as before. Oh, sometimes even less. Truly wealthy people keep the pipe narrow when the pressure increases. Income rises. Fixed costs stay the same, allowing the surplus to grow. Ramsey Solutions conducted the largest study of American millionaires ever recorded, surveying more than 10,000 individuals with net worth over $1 million. The results were consistent and for most people quite surprising. The majority of these millionaires describe themselves as careful with everyday spending. They use shopping lists. They compare prices. They drive Hondas and Toyotas. A significant portion spends less on groceries each month than the average American household. These are not people who became wealthy and then maintained frugal habits out of nostalgia. These are people whose habits created the wealth in the first place, and they understand clearly enough that those same habits are the mechanism for maintaining it, even when their income could easily support something more extravagant. The specific rule many wealthy people apply to income increases is simple. When a raise or bonus appears, a predetermined percentage, often 50% or more, automatically moves into savings or investments before the lifestyle has time to notice it. The lifestyle adjusts to what remains. A compound interest works on what was kept first. The seventh sign that someone is sign 7. They optimize time. Instead of price, secretly wealthy is that they optimize time rather than price. At lower levels of wealth, people trade time to do everything. At higher levels of wealth, money is no longer scarce, but time is. A person with $3 million invested at an average return of 8% per year is generating about $240,000 per year from capital alone. At that point, every hour they spend doing tasks that could be hired out is an hour of very high value time being lost. Because at that level of wealth, their time and attention often generate far more value per hour than the cost of hiring someone else to do the task. This is why truly wealthy people are willing to pay meaningful amounts for convenience that may look excessive from the outside. A direct flight costs $400 more than a connecting flight. A house cleaner frees up 8 hours per month. An assistant handles scheduling. Grocery delivery services eliminate travel time. The question they ask is not how much does this cost you, it is what does this buy back, and is that worth more than the money? Practicing clear evaluation of your time, understanding roughly what an hour of your focus attention is worth, and making spending decisions that take this into account. This is a habit wealthy people develop before they become wealthy, and part of what explains how they get there. They stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and begin asking, "What am I actually buying?" The eighth sign that sign 8, they don't panic. When the market drops, someone is secretly wealthy is that they do not panic when the market declines. Like during a major market downturn, most people react to this environment with panic, and they see their portfolio falling, and the feeling of loss begins to feel permanent. Even though markets have historically recovered after every correction, they panic and follow the crowd. They sell at the bottom, turning temporary paper losses into permanent real losses, and then watch the recovery happen without them. Truly wealthy people do the opposite. They don't check their portfolios every day during volatile periods. When they do check, they don't make dramatic changes. Some even buy more, recognizing that a market decline, by definition, is a discount on the same assets that were more expensive just a month earlier. The S&P 500 has gone through major declines many times in history. Black Monday in 1987, the dot-com crash that wiped out 78% of the Nasdaq, the 2008 financial crisis, the pandemic crash of 2020. Each of these events in real time created genuine fear and convincing arguments that this time was different. Each one, in hindsight, was a buying opportunity for anyone patient enough to hold or buy more instead of selling. Research from Goldman Sachs shows that missing just the 10 best days in the market since 2009 would reduce returns from about 17% per year to roughly 12%. The best days often occur during the most volatile periods, exactly when fear is highest and the urge to leave is strongest. The mindset of wealthy people when their portfolio turns red is simple. They are not investing for this quarter. They are investing for the next 15 or 25 years. And you should adopt the same mindset when the market turns red in 2026. The sign 9. They stop comparing themselves to others. Ninth sign that someone is secretly wealthy is that they stop comparing themselves to anyone else. When someone becomes aware that a neighbor, coworker, or an Instagram post has something you don't have, it becomes the most effective mechanism for extracting money from people who cannot truly afford the spending. Keeping up with the Joneses is not a character flaw. It is a psychological mechanism that the entire consumer economy is built to exploit. Luxury brands charge 40 times the manufacturing cost for a logo. A car is marketed as a reflection of career success rather than simply transportation. Vacations are designed to produce images as much as experiences. Truly wealthy people largely realize that these comparisons never really serve them, and that money used to maintain social status is money that is not compounding toward real freedom. One study found that when a neighbor wins a large lottery prize, bankruptcy rates in nearby households actually increase in the years that follow. The reason is that visible wealth from others creates spending pressure that we do not consciously recognize. You don't feel like you are trying to keep up with anyone. You simply have a vague sense that buying these things now is normal. It fits the neighborhood and my standard of living. Once you stop comparing yourself to others, you are no longer pulled along by that pressure. You have your own definition of a rich life, the things that truly matter to you. Independent of anyone else, your neighbor's new car is just their new car. Interesting maybe, but it has nothing to do with your decisions. Let's go back to the coworker final thoughts. 9 signs. Someone is secretly wealthy in the parking lot, like the 2009 Camry, the faded paint. By now, you may understand why he chose that Camry intentionally. He doesn't stand out in any of the ways that typically signal wealth. What he has accumulated quietly over decades is the result of 9 habits applied consistently without an audience. He talks about money as information instead of status. He drives cars that are fully paid off while his coworkers finance something that depreciates faster than they can pay it down. He spends money on accountants, insurance, and index funds while the people around him chase things that look better in the short term and produce nothing in the long term. He researches small decisions and handles large necessary decisions without delay. He waits before buying the things he wants and lets the waiting period eliminate most desires. His lifestyle does not expand when income increases. He protects his time with the same seriousness that others protect treasure. He stays steady through market declines that cause his peer group to panic. And at some point, he simply stops caring how any of this looks to other people. The man in the Camry understands things that you or his coworkers may not have realized before. Now they are no longer secrets available to anyone who chooses to apply them, moving toward wealth in a quiet, disciplined way. If you want to know why everything changes even more after $20,000, make sure to check out our other content on the Wealth Code.